of songs based on the book, in addition to the songs that come with the book with the QR code. And so that, again, intensified the collaboration. So we are going to actually read from the Leipzig chapter. And that was interesting because it's based on a real experience and a real conversation that Jens had had in that city involving a priest. But then I did my own version for Jay, not knowing any other details about the wedding itself. And then Jens wrote and played for me, or sent me the file for the song based on the chapter, which was 10 minutes long, almost as long as the chapter. Not really, but then I went back into the chapter and then changed the chapter to be a little bit more like the song that was based on the chapter that was based on what happened in his life, filtered through my imagination. So you could see truly what a collaboration this was. So basically, Jay is in that city to play the wedding of a Bach scholar. Right now, things with V are not looking good, and they're very estranged, and Jay is trying to grapple with what that means. Can he get her back? Does she understand how much he misses her? And it is all against the backdrop of playing in this cathedral. He wakes up disoriented, out of sorts. The sun has risen, but the sky hasn't fully caught on to the fact. It's going to be a dreary, dismal day. Just past noon, Jay puts on his suit and walks to the church. It is only as he nears it that he fully appreciates that he's about to play at a site where Bach and Mozart once played. Of course, if you count the choir, tens of thousands of other people have also sung there over the centuries, but how many have played their own songs? The church itself more than lives up to its history. On the outside, it looks like an alpine lighthouse has fallen into a more traditional cathedral from time immemorial. The sanctuary inside is striking in its simplicity. A white skeleton of pillars ribbed in red at the top as the ceiling soars. Toccata and a fugue in D minor is playing as he walks up, as if to remind everyone of all that the walls have absorbed over the years. About 20 minutes before the service begins, a man who has to be the priest comes into the sacristy and nods at Jay. Jay nods back. This is an older man, very serious looking, with sharp features and small round glasses. "You must be the singer," the priest finally says, almost dismissively. "I am, yes," Jay confirms. The priest calls out a name. Another man pops into the doorway. "This is the organ player," the priest says. "Hello," Jay greets. The organ player nods back, then looks to his boss. With as few words as possible, the priest says that he will signal Jay when it is his time to sing. There will be no mic, no amplification. Jay's song will see the wedded couple out of the church at the end of the service. Jay must keep singing until the last person has filed out. The priest doesn't ask Jay if he has any questions. Instead, he dismisses the organ player, then turns away from Jay and puts on his vestments. "So, why did you become a priest?" Jay asks. In a sacristy, he imagines this amounts to small talk. "For the love of God," the priest answers. He almost sounds sarcastic, but because the priest is German, Jay can't tell if he's being mocked, if the concept of religion is being mocked, or if this is just a very straightforward answer. The answer is so fiercely punctuated that Jay figures this will be the end of the exchange. But then the priest, with his back still to Jay, asks, "Why do you sing at weddings?" Jay has a usual answer to this, but he tries to make it more elaborate for the priest. "Singing at weddings makes me feel like a kind of midwife," Jay replies. "It's like I'm delivering these people, like babies, into the next phase of their lives." He has to imagine neither Bach nor Wagner gave this particular answer, but in fairness, he's not sure they ever played weddings. At first, Jay doesn't think the priest has heard, since his answer gets such a lack of response. But then, fully vestmented, the priest turns and says, "Yes, and like a midwife you stand at the middle of life, but still on the side. You observe and study, but you don't really participate." When Jay finds himself at a loss for a response, the priest humorlessly nods once and leaves the room. About 2 minutes before the start of the service, an altar boy comes over and leads Jay to the spot where he'll wait, not in the middle of the service, but on the side. Carl and the rest of the wedding party are waiting at the front by the altar. Then a pipe organ begins to play Mendelssohn's Wedding March. Jay has never heard this piece played at a wedding before, and if it weren't for the setting, he might think it's a joke. It sounds like a Transylvanian circus processional delivered with perfect solemnity. V would absolutely love it for its garish audacity, but V is not around to appreciate it, and when Jay looks around to see if there's anyone else he can share a smile with, he sees only the choir members, who have clearly been trained to match their expressions to that of the priest. The ceremony continues along these somber tones, with Imogen walked down the aisle by her father and conveyed to the space next to Carl. Bach is evoked far more often than love. The priest speaks of Imogen and Carl's holy union, but he seems much more interested in the holy part. It feels to Jay as if they've all been sucked into a much earlier century, and that the marriage has been arranged to shore up a lineage or acquire a dowry. There's no mention of how Imogen and Carl met, or indeed why they've chosen to be married. It's all very by the book, and there's no question which book it is. Jay figured he'd be the grand finale, but now he realizes he's meant to be the afterthought, the outro, not even the first song after the movie ends, but the second one, playing as the names of the prop handlers and finance executives are listed. For a moment, after Imogen and Carl exchange their vows and are pronounced man and wife, Jay thinks the priest has forgotten him entirely. When Imogen and Carl kiss, a cheer rings out from a few people and is quickly swallowed by the silence of the rest. It's only as they turn to leave the church that the priest shoots his steely glance Jay's way. There will be no introduction here. Jay is meant to simply step out of the shadows, which is exactly what he does.
In a cave in Lascaux, before Lascaux was called Lascaux, scribbled on the cold cave wall, we were in love. Shades of hematite, manganese oxide, memories lost forever, captured in a drop of amber. We were here at the same time. It was a time to be alive. We were here at the same time. It was a time to be alive.
It is such a peculiar feeling to sing in a cathedral. As he sings, it is as if he's also following his words as they travel into the air, as if he can feel the heights they reach and the emptiness they move through.
In a men's room stall, scribbled on the bathroom wall, for a good time call, Imogen and Carl. Long time listener, first time call, a trucker with a southern drawl, breathing hard over the line, said, I can't believe that we are on earth at the same time. What a time to be alive. We are here at the same time. It was a time to be alive.
Jake closes his eyes and keeps space they leave behind. His voice echoes back to him, reverberates through the eaves.
Carved into an old oak tree, a rugged heart, I+C. You find an old guitar and you play Buckwheat number 1 and G. We leave it in the canopy, and over time the guitar's body is swallowed up by the tree, performing the slowest melody as each string snaps successively, stretched out over a century. An automated music piece, no music sheet, the title simply reads, "We were here at the same time." It was a time to be alive. We were here at the same time. It was a time to be alive.
When he opens his eyes, he's alone. Does he have the church to himself, or does the church have him to itself? Is it possible for the answer to be both at once, and for his aloneness to be in such equal balance as well? Having omniscience over the moment, and the feeling of power that comes from that, and also having the moment completely unshared, completely solitary, and the feeling of isolation that comes from that. Both feelings sublimely coexisting, as they always do, but not usually in such stark relief against the rest of life. His voice lifts, and he watches to see where it goes. Like Bach's, like Wagner's, like Mendelssohn's, his work is invisible, and yet it has a chance to endure. You don't have to believe in any particular deity to feel gratitude. Jay lingers and bows his head, grateful for this unexpected gift of time and place. He keeps singing, not for anyone else, not for the pillars or all the centuries they represent. He takes the moment and sings for himself, to hear his voice as he's never heard it before.
We were here at the same time. It was a time to be alive. We are here at the same time. It was a time to be alive.